Alright, thank you. Good evening, everyone. This is Town of Sheldon Selectboard and Water Commissioner meeting for Monday, August 11th, 2025. Under new business, we've got a boring quote for Bridge Street, Hill Street water line, Judicial Bureau designation for ordinance enforcement, Highway Department time, equipment logging, Town Administrator's report. We need to sign and approve minutes from July 28th meeting, payroll warrant 2528, accounts payable warrant 31,700. And then under old business, we need to talk about Pleasant Street, traffic speeding, treasurer assistance, 2025 municipal tax rate, we need to okay that. Sheldon Springs Bicycle Pedestrian Scoping Grant Contract Update, Mill Street Sewer Project Update, and Salt Shed Project Update. Anything else we need to add?
Yeah, we received a road cut permit for Ben Pothier on Duffy Hill Road.
Okay.
And staff got a quote from, we have an existing rental contract or lease with the chloride company that we get road chloride for, which is for the tank that we have. They'd like to, as we're building the new salt shed, Seth's been thinking about moving that. We've talked about moving the tank over by the salt shed, and if they did that, right now we're pumping the chloride out with a gasoline pump, and we've had some trouble running that on occasion. So they thought if we moved the chloride tank over there, and we had an electric pump that was just on a switch, that would work better. So we've gotten a new lease agreement that is renewed. It's basically continuing the agreement for the chloride, but also includes an electric pump that we'd be leasing too. So
Same tank. So
yeah, same tank. We just get a pump to go with it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it was a 3-year agreement, and we're 2 years into it right now. So we're just renewing it.
Okay.
And Kyle's here to talk to you about the scoping study grant.
Okay, on the Sheldon Springs.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll start with that so we don't keep you too long.
Okay. Just really briefly, I think that Matt sent out you folks an updated contract. Just given the time frame, the agency has extended the grant for a year. So we have until next December 26th to complete everything. I know that you signed a contract a couple of months ago, but we found that there were some issues with some of the language in it in regard to the way that the State Municipal Assistance Bureau grants need to be worded. We used the contractor contract before. Now we have the updated contract is the state preferred version. So all of the terms are the same, except we have extended it for the year in there. But costs, all of those other things are the same. Dates are adjusted slightly, but we're looking at a wrap up of April 26th instead of February 26th. So just hoping, I'm here to answer any questions if there are any, and otherwise just hoping to get a new signature on the new contract. I have a meeting, an update meeting with VHB, the contractor, next week, and during that meeting we will schedule our first local concerns meeting, which we hope to have by the end of the month, to get the process fully rolling. And then from there, the select board will get some regular updates with what's going on. That local concerns meeting we'll probably try to schedule in conjunction with the select board meeting, so that you folks don't have to warn a separate meeting or worry about how many of you are there.
Okay.
It's usually it's the easiest, at least for the first one, and then we can kind of see how things go for moving forward from there.
Why was this the state preferred contract? What was the difference?
So I can't exactly tell you what the difference is, other than the attachments are different than, so the VHB did the first contract, and they do a lot of the stuff, so I assumed that it was fine. When the state reviewed it, they said it wasn't what they were. The grant administrator reviewed it, and he said it wasn't what he was looking for, so he asked me to just redo it with their standard contract.
I think it's basically just packaged slightly different.
Yeah, it's really a lot of the same information, but
since it's been extended, it allows us to adjust those dates.
that was also helpful.
And, signature page.
Oh, I think I had them all together on that wherever there was a paper clip. There was another section that was with a separate paper clip. Sorry, I should have been right on top. Sorry. I think it's the very bottom page there.
Storage.
Yeah, there you go. Sorry, my bad. So I think there are 3 separate things to sign in there. There's the main contract, and then there's a couple of acknowledgement forms as well. I didn't think to bring it out here, but I could get a copy of the existing contract if you think you want to look at that and compare it to what we've got here.
That's pretty straightforward, I guess. Anybody wanna look at it before we get a motion going? Yeah.
Just to recap, I believe this was $45,000, the total award.
50 was the
Yeah,
total.
right, and then there's
The 5,000 is in kind.
right, yeah, so there's 5,000 for the town.
This grant's gonna cover all, like, planning what should be done, the best thing to be done down there, and
Yep, so it's just scoping, so it basically does everything up to right of way, step work. So, yeah, it will address, the connection from the school across the road, or across 105, and then look at what that, down Mill Street and the intersections look like. For opportunity, whether it should, how the store ties in, how it doesn't tie in, all of those
That's been
opportunities.
that's been a issue since they built the school, and because of that.
Yeah.
The best place for a sidewalk or a right of way or whatever is on this side of the street, but then you come to that
Yep.
mess there, and there's no straight part of the road to cross to get over to the school.
Exactly.
What's our match on that?
It's $5,000, so it's a 10% match.
It's in kind. So, in kind meaning our road crew needs to do something, whatever, is that what that means?
I think there may be some, this is my first NPM on this type of grant, so I can get very specific, a specific answer for that. But I'm not sure how much of the in-kind, I don't know how much the road crew would need to be involved.
No, well, I'm just using that as an example, like, we've gotten grants for certain things and in kind can be.
Yeah, you can apply hours to it or
Right.
things like that, yes.
Correct.
I think that your in-kind match in this situation, I think that that 5,000 covers the contract with NRPC for the NBM.
Okay.
Is what, I think that that's what that 5,000 is going toward.
With that extension of another year, gonna be enough time to get that done. All right, take a motion to accept this contract agreement.
I'll make a motion.
All right, second on that,
Yep.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Since Kyle's here, I'll just bring it up. We have had a brief chat about looking at doing a speed study if we needed to for the purposes of amending the traffic ordinance. So he and I are gonna have a further discussion about that and see what they have for availability to help us. But I think it may, we may be able to limit that to only a few roads because I think the select board is free to set limits on unpaved roads between 35 and 50 without doing a traffic study. So just looking at the existing ordinance, there's really only probably 2 roads that we really should include that aren't on it right now, and then maybe there's a couple, we might want to review a couple more, but we may be able to do a fairly limited study to do what we'd like to do with the ordinance. So.
What roads did you have in mind?
Well, right now, the Woods Hill Road and Kane Road are not included in the ordinance right now, and those are class 2 highways, so I feel like they ought to be, and they get, certainly, the Woods Hill Road gets quite a bit of traffic, so I think they should be included in that. And then in this conversation we've been having about Pleasant Street, it's been addressed that the existing transitional speed zone is quite long, and maybe we should adjust that so that it's more tailored to what the roadway is. And then we also have these issues with the stop sign here out here in front of the clerk's office, and I think part of that's because there is no transitional zone coming from Fairfield. It goes from 50 to 25 like immediately. And
Yep.
same thing we also get complaints down on the other end of Main Street about speeding down there, and similarly it goes immediately from 50 to 25 over there. So I don't know if we can do a study and see if maybe having some sort of transitional zone that will allow more and better signage, letting people know that more slowly that they're heading into a village zone might be a better solution than what we have right now. So that's my suggestion for right now.
Okay. Start sign.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You want this right now, or should I just send it to you?
I can take it, and then I'll send you guys a copy, and then when it's fully executed, I'll send that over as well.
Sounds good.
That's it for me. Anything else you need from NRPC?
I don't think so.
Okay.
We're good.
Great, thank you very much.
All right, thanks for coming over.
You're welcome. Have a good night.
Yep. Alright, so we got a quote to go under Bridge Street to hook up that Hill Street water line. This is that company that he was working with before?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, that's Eden. Drill and install approximately 60 feet of 4-inch pipe, lump sum of $3,500. This price is based on ideal soil conditions, rock, cobble excluded. If rock is encountered, quoted price will be renegotiated. Pipe is included in the price.
Just talking about that project with Seth, he said that either we would probably, just because of the, it's kind of a tight space there on the Bridge Street side where we'd be hooking that up to the curb stop, that we'd probably be either rent a mini excavator or hire an operator with one instead of using the back.
Yeah.
And then we'd also be doing all the service hookups on the other side of the road at the same time.
So the surface hookups on the other side, is it just the main pipe, or you gotta go all the way to the houses?
I think we can hook the existing leads to the houses to the pipe they've already laid in. Is my
Okay, there's
understanding.
just not big enough pipe going down through
I
there.
don't think we need to add. Well, I know Tom, when he put in his house, he put in a bigger service line. I think he put a 3/4 inch line there or something
Right.
like that.
And Seth and Hunter put the line,
Yeah, down the road too.
did they get the blow off in yet?
I don't know about that.
He said they had some work to do to get that ready, but that can be done after too, I guess. But he was just saying if they had time, they were gonna do the work they needed on that end, so when they did come for it, it'd be all done, but.
Right.
All right, I guess, it's the only bid we got. Take a motion to accept this bid.
Just a quick question before that is, I mean, is that, I don't know anything about it, is that like a reasonable fee that we paid in the past, do we know?
We put this out to bid, or did they just call around and?
They just called around about it, as far as I know, is what Hubert did. So I could see if we could get some other bids.
I'm just asking for myself, I mean,
Right.
to me, it doesn't seem like it's a exorbitant amount of money, obviously. 60
Yeah.
feet, I wouldn't want to dig it by hand, so, I mean, boring, it makes sense.
Yeah, I'm not sure when was the last time we did a project like this, Steve. You would know better than me, but
Yeah, the last time, I don't remember what the price was. I remember seeing the contract, but I don't.
I also don't know how many contractors there are that do that. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. But I could certainly go and
I was just curious.
see if we can get more.
No, it's because Steve said a bid, and I was like, did we put it out for bid, or did they just call?
They called a couple different people. I know Hubert has used this guy before, and Seth said that Hubert was gonna make a couple phone calls, see who we could get to come look at it.
Is there
I
a
don't know if
a timeline or a time frame to get this done, or?
I think we'd like to get it done.
Yes.
You know, the next couple months. Yeah, certainly before it gets cold here. But yeah, the idea is to get this done this year. Yeah.
Right.
So, but in terms of immediate timeline, I don't really know when they're available. So. I would guess at this point it'll probably be sometime in September if we can.
Yeah. Yeah, it's up to you guys. I mean, if you wanna try to get some other bids or,
No, I'll make a motion to accept the bid.
okay. Have a second on that?
I'll second that.
Any in favor? Aye.
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 Judicial Bureau designation. For ordinance enforcement, that's
Yeah,
some
I think
paperwork
there
there,
should be
so.
a letter on the top there somewhere.
Got it.
Yeah, so this is we did this last year as well, and we kind of need to redo it because we have a new clerk and a new animal control officer.
Oh,
So
okay, yeah.
this is in case we need to write a ticket under the dog ordinance. It'll authorize Adam to do that, and also there needs to be a custodial officer, which we had appointed Kim to do that as the town clerk. And so we would just be, the problem is that each person has to have a unique number associated with them, and so we need to designate them so they can be issued a number that they can use in the bureau. So I was already on there as an enforcement, or not, as an appearing officer in case we needed to actually prosecute the case in the judicial bureau. Adam has said that he'd be available. Cody said to me last year he would write tickets, but he was not going to be available to go to court because of his job. Adam said that if he can't, he would make himself available to do that. So I put it so both of us would be appearing officers in case Adam couldn't do it. I would go down to court to make sure that there was a default judgment made against the town for not showing up.
Right.
So anyway, I don't know that we're going to be writing too many tickets under this, but at least this way we're covered. We do that.
Gonna have to get you a badge.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's
Wait
right.
for your turn.
Can I ask a question on that?
Absolutely.
I mean, we do have fire ordinances.
Correct,
which
yeah.
We have fines associated with them, but there's no enforcement. Can we add another,
I think we could do that if you'd like to. Yeah, that's
add Adam as the same?
right. Sure, yeah.
For enforcement?
Yeah. I could just modify the letter so that it includes the only thing is the letter just mentions the dog ordinance, but the fire ordinance was adopted very similarly, so I can do that as well. I do know that parking fines you can't do in judicial court, so in the judicial bureau, so we can't. If we wanted to enforce parking, that's like a select board does it itself situation. So,
I mean, if
yeah.
it's just an addendum or
Yeah.
just do another one, a separate one with just naming, doing the same thing
Yeah, I
as
can.
you did here?
Yes, and I can do that for the next meeting if you want.
Okay, so
Yeah,
let's
yeah,
just move this
yeah.
forward, and then if we want to
Yeah.
do,
Okay.
Do you wanna do this one, or do you wanna add it to this one, cause you got all the names on it?
Oh, sure, we could.
Whatever's easier for you.
I think we would just be designating an additional enforcing. It would be to enforce both both ordinances. So,
Another ordinance
yeah,
besides
yeah.
just this one.
Right. So you know what, maybe I might just call the judicial bureau and say, if we have this person already registered to enforce ordinances, can they enforce a different ordinance as well? Yeah,
Right.
and I think they would be able to.
Okay.
Yeah.
that's fine, I don't want to hold anything
Yeah.
up, I just,
Yeah, I forgot about that, Rick, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, might as well be to enforce it, like, no point in having the rules if you can't enforce them.
Right.
Okay.
Alright, I'll take a motion to accept this designation of officers.
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
Alright, second on that.
yeah, I'll second it.
Alright, all in favor? Alright,
Aye.
opposed? Alright, what'd you find out for, the highway department stuff for
Oh,
time loss?
yeah, so,
funds?
I've had them, they've been using a free application for right now, it's called Jibble, which seems to, I don't know that it's the best thing, but it seems to be working. I've done I've looked at a couple other apps that are out there. Another one that is would be available for free because we have less than 10 employees using it. A lot of them unfortunately seem to be more optimized for like office workers or freelance type people as opposed to construction. I did do one demonstration with an app here that it's optimized it was built for the construction industry, but the features look like we would use them for, they're very similar to the things that we would use, we'll put it that way, which is that they would be able to clock in, have their location recorded when they clocked in. They would be able to select probably what we would use the app. They would be able to clock in according to which project they were working on, in which case, in the town's interest, we would probably either have them clock in and be working on the highway or on the water and sewer.
Right.
Right, and then there's subcategories that could be put in. So for example, if we were doing a grant project, they could clock into working on the grant project. And then we could add the equipment as well, so that they could also log the hours that they were on. When you get on the backhoe, you can clock into doing on the backhoe. So it says, I'm working on highway, I'm working on the grant project, I'm on the backhoe,
Yeah.
and it would be tracking their location every few minutes the whole time they were doing that. And then the other thing that I liked about this app was that it was very easy for them to add comments to any time they wanted to. They could just open the app and either do like a voice memo, or like talk to some text, speak to text to record information, or they could very easily take a photo and add that into it would basically be added to their time card for the day. And then if I was doing the grant reporting, for example, I would very easily be able to get that whole category of like, okay, here's all the grant work we did, here's the hours they worked, which hours they were on the equipment, and photos of what they were working on. Here's the culvert before, here's the culvert after we did it. So it would be, it was, and as I said, it was optimized for the construction industry, so it's pretty minimal in terms of the input. It's like 2 buttons you push, and a lot of it is, like I said, you can either talk into it or you can take a picture and you're done. So it's not a whole lot of data entry stuff. The way this would cost the town some money to implement. There would be a monthly license for it, as well as a user fee for it. So this would be looking at, and then there would be a one-time administrative fee for the first year for onboarding. But the price here would be roughly $1,000 a year for the town to use that app. So it'd be something like $80 a month, basically. So it would be $40 for the license for the month, and then depending on how many, I asked them to quote us 4 users because I didn't know if we would have 3 or 4 guys on the highway. I didn't think it would be necessary to use this for the office staff or any of the board members, people like that who do things for the town. But anyway, so it would be an investment, but like I said, I liked, and I think that this I could use a different service to kind of recreate what they've already built here. If I went into one of these other apps that I've looked at, I can see how I could build it so that it could be very much set up the same way, but I'd have to invest time in doing that, whereas this comes out of the box and it's pretty much ready to go. I would just need to enter the codes of highway, sewer, and then maybe which, so if they were doing highway class 2 roads, we could put the code in for that, so they could track hours for when they were working on a class 2 versus a class 3 road or a grant project. We'd probably keep it very simple in terms of, I would only have 3 or 4 different little projects that they would be working on. Maybe garage maintenance or equipment maintenance could be in there, but anyway, so you guys can.
Is that something they could, either like a trial basis, you could 30 days?
Yeah, I think there is a.
See how the guys liked it as far as user friendly.
We could. I'm not sure if we would get. I'd have to see how long a trial they could give us, but I think there is a trial basis we could do. I don't know if it would be a whole month. That's all, but I could ask about it and see how the guys liked it.
Or at least so they get their hands on it and see.
Right. That's the thing, is that
You hate to buy into a contract for a year and.
Right, and then a month
nobody
later, you
uses it
decide you don't
because
use
they.
it. Yeah.
Have to log everything.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a
Right.
pain to do all that, they're just gonna
Yeah.
So
not go down.
on the current app, do you have a printout of? They've been using this thing for over a week now, right?
Yes, yeah.
So do you have a printout of like what it looks like when it comes through? Like they submit their timesheet and it goes to you.
I don't have it right now. I could get that for you.
So that
Yeah, yeah.
but it goes to you.
It would, I have the administrative account of it right now, but I would also probably give Jane access to that too, so it'd be easier for her to do payroll. Yeah,
But I mean, on
yeah.
this one, like, what did he just do with it? Like, it just came to you this past week, and you have a week's worth of hours on a timesheet right now.
Well, we haven't done payroll yet, but yes, yeah.
Right,
yeah.
2 weeks for payroll, so
Right,
you have
yeah.
a week's worth of data.
Right. Yes.
And
yeah.
you can print it off, and the way this would work is you submit it to Jane on their behalf at the end of the payroll.
Right, yeah, yeah.
And then you have administrative powers, so if someone's like, hey, I forgot to punch out, you can go in and
Right.
correct their hours for the and punch them.
Right, yeah. So the
And then-
one, yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, and then does anybody here, like if Steve wanted visibility, so that way he's like, hey, I can check on something, he can have the app on his phone if he wanted to, and he can just take a quick look at what's going
I
on.
think that should be possible as well. yeah.
With the current one,
Yes, yes.
okay?
So the thing about the current app, like I said, we just installed the free version of it, see how they would use it. Unfortunately, the thing I don't like about it is it's, in terms of keeping track of location, it seems to be for the free version of that, it's like, it's optimized for a place where like people are in one location. So it keeps track of your location, but if you leave a certain radius, it will prompt you to be clocked out as opposed to, and it doesn't keep track of where you are throughout the day unless you pay for it.
So what is the price for?
So
unless you
I
pay
think
for
it's
it?
not as much as this one. I think it was to have the location features that we would prefer to have. I think it was $8 or $9 a month per user. So it would be not quite. It would be about half as expensive as this one is. But like I said, it's not. I would have to put some effort into. It could be done, but I'd have to put some effort in it to build it to be optimized for the way I think we'd like to operate it, which is the way that this app is already set up. That's the.
'Cause I don't think that
Yeah.
we want to like follow them around and say, where were you
Right.
during, I just
No,
want to know like
right.
when you punch in and it says, it
Right.
tags you, like if you were in Sheldon and you did it,
Mm-hmm.
or you punch out and it was, hey, I was here, or say, someone's going to check on a road or whatever the case is. That's the only reason I might just make sure that you're punching in or punching out when you
Okay.
cross the town line.
Okay.
If you're using the app, I don't need to
Okay.
follow you around and, low jack your phone. as
Right,
far as
right.
What are you
Yeah.
doing? It's just, if this thing's going to be convenient for them,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure that like the categorizing of what class road I was on, all this, they're gonna be like, well, that's gonna be more of a pain if it was me, in my opinion, to log
Okay.
everything or doing what road am I on, I did so many hours here, it's just,
Yeah, I mean-
I'm in, I'm out, I was here, I was where I was supposed to be, that's it.
They're logging that kind of information currently without an app, right?
Right,
On their
they are.
timesheets and, they're on certain roads or category, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, like, while
it's-
you're driving around, if that's something
Right.
that they would even want.
Yeah, this
Right,
is just,
That,
the intent is just so that if they wanna go do something, they don't have to go all the way to the garage to punch out.
Right.
Like they're here, they can go straight
Yeah.
to it.
But would it make the paperwork for the foreman easier because he's the one that has to track, like when you do class 2 or class 3
Right,
work and stuff? Would it be easier for him to just
I think it
in while
might be.
he's there? Instead of waiting till he comes back to the shop and sit down and
Yeah. Right. And as I said,
all that stuff?
I think the app that they have, if I spent some time on it, I could probably build those features. I could flesh out those features to make it easier for him to do that with the one that we're already using. But I just liked this one because I could see how we could implement it like right away. The way it is comes out of the box. It is a lot of money. It is a fair amount of money to invest in that. So if you'd like to just stick with what we got, and I can try to make it work because the app that we are using will track, when they clock in where they were, and when they clock out where they were, and we can they do have the ability to change what task they were doing in the app that they have now. It's just not as readily optimized for the work that they're doing. It's more, as I said, it's really more optimized for people who are going to be at a computer and have more inputs that they can put into it than somebody out in the field. But so if we want to just stick with the one we have for right now, and I can try to work with them to optimize it, and it will keep track of where they clock in and where they clock out, and keep it simple. We can do that.
Do you want to just like play with that for a while
Sure.
and see, and then if you know, you do that for a while and you're not happy with the way it's going, then we can
Okay.
revisit maybe. And
Yeah, see if
maybe
they're
get a little
using
more
it.
input from the guys too, you know,
Right.
after they've
Yeah.
used it for a while, and
Yep.
if they think there's other features that needed or whatever, then maybe it would be time to upgrade. But if
Okay.
you don't have a lot invested in this one,
Not yet,
then
really.
we can maybe just play with it a little bit
Right.
longer. And
Yeah, that's, I
See
mean,
what-
really, they've got a week on it, and I've not had a whole lot of time to look at. I mean, I've been comparing
Really?
3 or 4 of them, and I haven't really had any time to like look at all the features of one of them. I'm just kind of looking at, okay, broadly, what does this one do,
Yeah.
and what does that one do, and
but like you
Yeah.
said, I don't think we
Yeah.
need to track their every movement. It's
right, yeah,
just a matter of if it's easier for like, if Hunter goes to the sewer plant in the morning and he clocks in and goes to the sewer plant with the water.
right,
And then when he gets back to the garage, if he can just, you know, okay, I'm done with that, I'm on the highway, and be
Right.
able to do that fairly easy, and if there's
Yeah.
features that Seth can say, okay, we just changed the culvert out here, this is a class 2 road project, and I could put that
Yeah.
right in without having to go back and
right.
write it in a notebook or something. you
Yeah,
know.
and depending on which app it is, there are some that have sort of different levels of control they have. So some of them have like just an administrator and people working, but some of them have an intermediate, like where the foreman probably would be, who can edit, you know, certain features of the time cards to let them know, oh, we worked on this project, we worked on that project, but they don't see everything in the way that, you know, the person doing payroll needs to see all the information. So,
Right,
yeah.
so I think
yeah.
like Matt and Hunter, when they're working over there on a project, then, you know, it's just
Yeah.
a matter of the paperwork for the budget, you know,
Right.
how much of that was class 2, how much class 3,
Right.
and if there's an easy way for him to track it through that app instead of sitting down doing paperwork at the end of the day, then
Right.
that might be a benefit.
Okay. All right, so, yeah, we'll stay the course with the one we have. I'll see if this one has any trial basis that we can make use of. And we'll report back after, you know, the next time we have this meeting, we'll have, you know, we'll have a whole payroll, and
Yeah.
they'll have some experience with it, so.
Okay, that sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
All right. You wanna give your report?
Oh, sure.
We'll
Just a moment, I just want to write down.
do some signing on that. Big one.
Oh, boy.
Okay. Notes are a little scattered here. The SD Ireland began their paving today on Casino Road, and they also did a skim coat on part of Sheldon Heights. I didn't know this weren't gonna be, Seth just told me, Seth only found out at the end of last week that they were ready to come up here. I thought it was gonna be in September, but I guess they found room in their schedule to move us up, so. He went out with Joe Montaigne and marked where the roads were gonna be this morning, but then he called me right after and said, they're gonna start today, so I thought they were gonna start later this week, but. Anyway, in theory, they should be done by the end of this week. They're gonna start there at the junction, obviously, and then move over to Maury Road and Heald Road are the ones that we had planned Now, the quote that we had received for them was, Seth had kind of asked them to look at a lot of different roads and then we would kind of adjust it afterwards. So I think that it was, if we were to do all the roads at their estimate in terms of the tonnage that we had asked for, we would go over our budget by probably around $20,000. So Seth didn't know. I said we can see. We thought that it would be better to focus on the. We would like to complete the small roads in the junction just because it's the state just paved that highway. It would be nice to have them all kind of in the same condition, and they're all, you know, the grade. It's not getting a lot of distance done, but it's getting a lot of different neighborhoods done in that. And so we thought if there was going to be a place that they would try to. The other thing is that those roads tend to get paved less often because they're residential. So we thought that when they move over to the Maury Road and the Heel Road, we could ask them if they could instead try to stretch the pavement over there. There is
Well,
a
why don't
small.
you come up with a tonnage figure to meet our budget and then just draw them up to go over that?
Yeah, and that's what.
We've done that before, that's why it took 3 years to get Rayfield done.
Right, yeah.
You know, it's,
So Seth didn't know if you would consider, I asked Jane for I got a budget report from Jane, but I seem to have misplaced it, but he was wondering if necessary, could we move some of the class 2 maintenance money over to the paving to stretch it slightly, was his suggestion. But unfortunately, I can't tell you how much is left in that because I don't have the copy of the report she gave me. So, but yeah, I in general, that's what I thought we would do. We just limit the tonnage and have them keep track of it and see if we can stretch it. The other reason I thought that if we, for whatever reason, we can't get all of the roads in the west end done, it's easier to go back out there and finish it next year than it is to go up one of those little roads in the junction just to do.
yeah.
A couple
Once
hundred feet of
one
pavement.
area done and then
Right. Okay, so, the last week, getting ready for the event at the Historical Society, we did a number of improvements in the park. They painted all the benches and fixed the water hydrant there, and we replaced that, and then put new electrical outlets in the park because they weren't working. So that seemed to worked out well. They also, they went ahead and bought a leaf blower for, and I said that we could probably take that out of the Parks and Rec maintenance budget because there was quite a lot there that we weren't really. I think we had $1,500 I think we had $5,000 in maintenance and $1,500 in miscellaneous for the Parks and Rec. So I thought that investing in a
yeah,
blower
that'd
would
be
be a
where
good
they
idea.
use it, so.
Yeah.
Any word on the turnout for that?
For the total, I didn't get a number for the total turnout for the event. I would say they were, I don't know, probably 30. It's hard to track because it was a 3-hour event and some people came and went. So
Yeah.
probably somewhere between 30 and 50 people there were, I imagine. I don't know, something like that.
That's a pretty good one there.
Yeah.
There's quite a few people there when I was there earlier.
Yeah, so maybe there was more than that.
Did Lieutenant Governor?
He was there, yeah.
Did
He
he?
came right around a little bit before 1. Yeah. So.
I missed him.
They were, today they painted the office over there, and they'll be moving all the things back into it tomorrow, I assume, including their new refrigerator, et cetera. Seth would, I think, just reminding you that they'd like to rent the brush cutter this fall to do the roads are getting overgrown enough to kind of do that again.
Yeah.
That's all I should.
Did they probably get quotes on the salt shed construction yet?
So, they had talked to, I think Seth and Steve had talked to Mike Randall about doing that. I think he gave us a quote for the labor, and then, he had, I think he had either was going to or had called Sticks and Stuff to get an estimate on the trusses, but then he went out to South Dakota for the motorcycle route. So we
Yeah.
haven't heard back from him since
He
then.
got some measure, he came over and got some measurements, and he was gonna get send up to Sticks and Stuff to get quotes on the trusses and material and stuff, and then he said he'd get back to us when he got back.
Seth thought it would be $28,000 for the, somewhere in, yeah, that was his ballpark figure for the structure plus lighting and electrical. And then, he had talked to, while he was riding around with the Joe Montaigne, he kind of picked his brain on how much asphalt would take to do the floor. They haven't prepped it, but they haven't gotten the, but he thought it'd be about 30 tons for that, about 6 inches of the floor there, so that'd be 2 truckloads. A few $1,000s more, but, and then I called Lafayette's today. I had sent them an email asking them for a quote last week, but I guess they were 2 weeks ago, but apparently that got lost, so I resent the information to them, and they should get back to me with a quote. I didn't hear anything back I had reached out to Tom Furyk as well, but I didn't hear back from him about doing a fence there. They said that they would give us a quote, a definite price for the gate, and then they'd probably give us a price per foot for the fence, and you could decide how big a fence you wanna have, and they could either do a 6-foot high fence or an 8-foot high fence, depending on what you wanted, so. Well, I kinda sent them the diagram of, the 2 or 3 different things we had discussed doing, and then
Yeah.
they'll send a quote for that. I think, again, we had talked to Tom Callan as well about doing that job, although I think he would need some labor help if he wanted. I think he was interested, but he would need the crew or some other people to help him with labor.
Yeah. And I talked to a couple of the contractors that weren't interested, so.
Okay. The 2018 truck went in for some service. There was a part that we couldn't get, that we ended up having to order through Amazon. I don't know if that's on your AP warrant this week or not, but it was gonna be like 6 weeks or something for them to try to get it, so they found it that way, so. Oh, they did, so last week they did the culvert repair on Shawville Road, which I think they took a little bit because they were trying to, they went and borrowed the pavement saw that the fire department has, but then they couldn't get it started, so they ended up having to go rent one, so that kind of, there was some logistical problems in there. Anyway, so took a fair amount of, I think the hole ended up being bigger than they would have necessarily wanted it, so it took a little bit more asphalt to fill it in, but it's not too bad. They'll let the pavement, they put a shim coat there, and next year we'll put some, we'll recoat it. Or actually, probably Seth was thinking that when we go to do the floor of the salt shed, we could probably rent a pavement roller and then go from that job and go over there and go over that, put another layer over that shop. Yeah. I think Seth is gonna take a couple of days on his comp time this week. And as I mentioned, they were working on the office today. I assume that tomorrow they'll be putting that back together, and they'll have to get it, like grass is not growing too well, but they'll have some other usual chores to do as well this week.
Yeah, they were complaining about of grass there, probably slowed down a little now. Hey, you're pretty good earlier this year.
Well, the other thing I should let you know is that we received a letter from Hillary Mead saying that she's gonna step down from being on the planning board and on the DRB. I think she's starting. I think she's gonna be working more at the school this fall, and she's not gonna have as much time to do that. So we'll need to find another person to be on those boards. I'm sure there's something else I should be telling you about, but I'm not recalling it right now, so.
Okay. I'll read the minutes from the last meeting and get those done. Select Board Water Commission regular meeting, July 28th of 2025. In attendance from the Select Board was Maria Davison, Stephen Dodd, Richard Piasny, Greg Stebbins. Others here were Seth Patel, our highway foreman, Matt Stebbins, the town administrator, Jerry Vasey from Northwest Access TV, and Nancy West from the planning commission. I called the meeting to order and read the agenda. Added to the agenda was the setting of the 2025 municipal tax rate. 7:44, Seth Patel delivered the highway report, beginning with an update on the salt shed project. Harrison has poured the foundation and outside walls. The form broke during pouring of the walls and some concrete was wasted. Seth reported on recent maintenance on the 2018 truck, backhoe, and grader. Another load of chloride has been ordered for dust control. And a lockout, tag-out box, microwave and refrigerator have been acquired for the garage office. The crew replaced a driveway culvert on Rice Hill Road and will replace the road culvert on Shawville Road by next week. 8:05, the board took up the issue of traffic calming measures on Pleasant Street. Nancy West asked whether speed bumps had been ordered. Matt Stebbins shared price quotes he had received for rubber speed humps and speed cushions. The board discussed the traffic concerns on Pleasant Street and East Sheldon Road, where speed humps or cushions could be placed, and what material type should be used. Seth said that the crew could install this week. 8:25, the board took up a quote from Pro Lines Vermont for striping the town office parking lot and painting stop bars, stop ahead markings, and a crosswalk on Main Street and Bridge Street intersection. Total quoted price was $1,300. Greg moved to accept the striping quote, seconded by Rick, and the motion carried. Board took up setting the 2025 municipal tax rate. The town clerk has calculated a rate of 0.5621 based on a budget and articles voted at town meeting, and a grand list of $2,773,372.95. Greg moved to set the 2025 municipal tax rate at 5621, seconded by Maria, and the motion carried. I updated the board on the recent discussion with Treasurer Jane Lanza. Jane would like to consider professional consultation for assistance with the investment and reporting activities of the town treasurer role. 8:47, the board took up the appointment of the animal control officer. Greg moved to appoint Adam Reagan as animal control officer, seconded by Maria, and the motion carried. 8:49, I read the minutes from the July 14th meeting, and the board signed payroll warrant 2527, accounts payable warrant 31,699, and an excess weight fleet permit for somebody. Rick moved to accept the minutes as read, seconded by Maria, and the motion carried. Matt Stebbins delivered the town administrator's report. The LCT conducted an appraisal of town property for insurance purposes. Matt presented his review of the traffic ordinance and town policies for class 4 roads, private roads and driveways. 9/17, the board took up the hazard mitigation plan, which has been submitted for final approval. The contractor will be submitting a final invoice so that the grant closeout can begin, but has requested an amendment clarifying that they will continue to be under contract and do necessary tasks after the final invoice has been paid. Greg made the motion to approve the amendment to the hazard mitigation plan contract with Seam Solutions, seconded by Maria, and the motion carried. 9/21, Matt Stebbins provided an update on the Mill Street Sewer Project. And 9/24, the board took up the appointment of road commissioner. Greg moved to appoint Nicholas Norris, road commissioner, seconded by Rick, and the motion carried. 9:25, Rick moved to adjourn the meeting, seconded by Greg, and the motion carried with all in favor. Next regular meeting is Monday, August 12th at 7:30. Take a motion to accept these minutes as read. Second on that.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Did you see this?
I saw that.
Yeah, it takes 3,000.
Oh, yeah, I've been asked about that.
So I spoke with Jane, I don't know, what was, one day last week when I was in here. What day was that? Thursday, Wednesday?
That sounds right.
Anyway, one of those days anyways. And she had, what was her name, Amanda?
Amanda, Healy? No, that's not it. I'm sorry, Steve.
I got the email on it, it was in my car, but she, anyways, she had a meeting with her and, she really liked what she had to offer. And she was wondering if that was a possibility. She does this for the town of Fairfield. So she gave her a quote of she would do this work for, she charges a flat fee, $80 an hour. And she had told her, what was it?
I think it's 5 hours a week or something.
5 hours a week at the most, or, 5 to 10 to get started, and once she gets into the rhythm, she said it'll be, 5 hours or less a week to help her oversee the books and get her whatever help she needs. As far as the accounting stuff, she'd get the stuff ready for when the auditors come to audit the books, and
How much was it per hour? $8?
$80 an hour.
Oh, 8.
Zero.
Oh, say.
Yeah.
I was like, 8?
Just checking.
It's a great rate.
Yeah.
So she'd like us to consider signing a contract with her. I don't know if you want to get more formal contract.
Yeah.
And she just wanted to make sure, she said she would come in if you wanted, discuss it with us, and I said, well, I'll just, we talked about it last meeting, so I said, I'll just run it by you guys, and then if she wants to get a formal contract and present it, then we would.
I can find out if
Interesting.
Fairfield has a more formal contract.
Yeah, I just,
So is this to help her learn how to do more of the treasure, or completely take it off her hands?
a little both. She wants to make sure she's doing the accounting stuff properly, and she wants another set of eyes to oversee her books to make sure that when the auditors come in at the end of the year, they don't say, hey, you've been doing this wrong all year, and this is not good, and that's not good. And, so she kind of got this, she talked about, hiring a CPA or whatever, and this lady does this for the town of Fairfield. She's got her own private consulting business too, I guess, and so she thought that would be a good fit for her.
I think Jane's comfortable doing the day-to-day stuff for the treasurer. I think it's just the larger order things in terms of reports that need to be filed with the state or with the auditor and the investment type of things that the treasurer does in terms of, you know, how she operates the town's finances, you know, with larger institutions, I guess. Those are the things that she seems more concerned about, the things that come up, but not every day.
Yeah.
So would it be needed every week? Is it something that could be done every month or,
I guess I could ask her to be more specific.
weekly at 10 hours a week? That's,
I think she was saying 5, not 10, yeah. So,
okay.
so it'd be 10 hours per pay period, I guess, but yeah. I don't know if that is actually every week she'll be here 5 hours, or if that's just a ballpark for the year in terms of how many hours she thinks she would work for the year.
Yeah, I think she kind of mentioned like 3 to 5 hours, but she said they weren't quite sure until they got started.
Right.
Well,
And I think if Jane becomes more comfortable with those things over time, then maybe we would be using this person less as you know,
Right.
as she gets more confident in what she's doing. But
yeah, if you can get find out if she's just a formal contract or what, a little more information, or maybe we can have Jane come to the next meeting and discuss it with us. We can go from there. On this municipal tax rate we set last meeting, the total amount that we approved was covered the whole 100,000 that was voted not to exceed on that salt shed. But we had worded it, we could finance it up to 5 years.
correct. Yeah.
So we're wondering if we should stretch that out and lower the tax rate back down a little, or just like slow it and put the whole amount in this year and have it done with not financing.
Yeah. So I have to apologize about that. When we looked at this last meeting, I had not had a chance to really absorb the math that Jane had done, and she had just included the entire amount of the salt shed in the she had kind of added that to the budget we approved, and you have approval from the voters to finance that over several years instead of necessarily just doing it in 1 year. So the tax rate that you set, that's the reason why the tax rate increased by 3.5 cents from last year, is because we included the whole salt shed.
How many years can we spread it out over?
We could up to 5 years.
Up to 5?
And what does that look like for the tax rate if we did that for 5 years?
I called People's Trust, unfortunately, have been waiting. They're supposed to get back to me tomorrow morning with the specifics of the interest rate. Depending on what term we wanted to do, I asked them to look at 3 years and 5 years. So I don't have an interest rate for you, but I think that would be somewhere between more like a $25,000, $27,000 payment, depending on how long you wanted to do that for. So it would be more like a cent on the tax rate as opposed to 3.5 or a cent and a half or something like that. So
I don't think we need to drag that out too long, but
that's the other thing, is I don't know exactly.
2 or 3 years.
We've got this foundation board that cost us around 35 grand, I believe, and then like I said, I don't know where we haven't, when we get a quote for the trusses, we'll have an idea of how much the rest of it will be. But I don't think you're gonna spend all $100,000 on that, so
I guess it depends on what, is it a wash, dollar-wise? I mean, would it be,
If you,
Well, it would be interest, but interest.
Right, it would be-
Municipal loan interest must be what, 3 or under? Yeah.
right, yeah, it would probably be, like, the highest I can imagine it'd be would be 4%, so. So that would be something like on $100,000 loan over, I think over 5 years, that'd be like $12,000 or something like that. Math on that real quick here.
Do 100,000, 3 years at, before you're high at 4%.
Well, I think so, but I was just trying to think of the worst
Yeah, I
case
know.
scenario.
You just do that number for 3 years and
I'm sorry. For 3 years, you think that would be something like 36. Total interest would be 1,000.
what would you say, 36?
Yeah, that would be your payment.
So that would be,
this penny a 1,000?
I think a penny is 2.
so if you had another 36,000 to the budget, it'd be,
Something like that.
You'd end up, if you did it on 3 years and you added 36,000 to that budget, you'd end up with a tax rate of 0.5389
Yeah,
instead of 5.6.
which would be,
So 4.
be a 1.35 cent decrease from last year.
Yeah. I'll make a motion, we amend that tax rate.
I'll second.
So we'll go with, instead of the approved rate that we had last meeting of 0.5619, we would go with a rate of 0.5389. And that should raise enough money to cover all budget, and we'll do figure out a 3-year note with, people.
Yep. Yep, they should have that number.
Okay. Alright, all those in favor of that tax rate?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
And my apologies, that was right the first time.
This road cut permit.
Yeah, so Seth went out with Ben to look at it, and it kind of has to, there's more or less only one place to put it, because it's gonna be on the Duncan Hill Road between the St. Pierre Road and the corner where the Burns Road used to be. Or it still is, but it's not a town highway anymore, but anyway, it has to be, by the zoning, it has to be, I think, 150 feet or 120 feet past the intersection. And then, by the time you get further around the curve, it's just all ledge over there, so there's really kind of only one place that you can put it. So that's the place that they determined. I suppose you saw this Jane would like to put this in with the tax bill, if that's all right with you.
Yeah.
Good information for everybody to see.
Yeah, I like that.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Pleasant Street. They got the speed sign up there.
Yeah, they went in on Friday afternoon.
Did that quiet down for a while? I have to tell you, I got more complaints about speed bump than I've had from people complaining about speeders, so. Nobody else on the street's complaining about speeders, to me anyways, but. I got a handful of people complaining about, and the thing that to me, there's speeding going on everywhere,
Yeah.
not just that one area of town. So, I mean, we put in a solid effort, we tried something, didn't work, so we took it back out. Got the speed sign there, I don't know. Seth called me, because we had spoke that night about, well, let's just throw some asphalt down, make a speed bump. Well, he called me back after he thought about it on his way home there. He called me first thing the next morning and said, I don't know if that's a good idea. He was worried about it not peeling back up after. And he said, what if we don't shape it right and it's too aggressive, then we just wasted all that asphalt, we'll peel it back out. And so he wanted to try a temporary fix, which we did. He put those helmets in and and they didn't work, I guess, or they might have worked with a little more modifications, I guess, but
Yeah, it really wasn't, I would say for most cars, it wasn't great to be able to go over at 25 miles an hour, which is really all we're trying to do. We're not trying to get people to go through it 5 miles an hour. Whatever they put in there was not 25 miles an hour acceptable. So all the complaints were absolutely valid. I get
that's what I
that.
heard.
And then I did get a complaint specifically, not even about the speed bump itself, but about the honking and then aggressive driving from the speed bump, clearly as like a, I don't know, frustrated situation. So there would need to be something else done, and I'm not sure. I haven't personally heard anything as far as complaints, which is really a relief because it was a daily occurrence since the little radar thing's up. So I think at the very least it quieted the one complainer.
Unfortunately, I was hoping that the speed cart would give us some data on that. Unfortunately, that they have two, one that collects data and one that doesn't. The one that does collect data is apparently broken right now. So, but the sheriff, I told the sheriff we'd be interested in collecting that data if we could. So if he can get the other one fixed, he'll try to bring it down here instead of the one that's there currently. But that's. I think I got a couple of specific complaints, one of which was that we didn't, someone thought that we probably should have done a more complete study and had some more data before we did something.
Yeah.
Because of the...
I think we kind of rushed into that whole thing, but.
So I have asked the sheriff to increase the patrols in that area. He was over there at the end of last week, both days that he was there, and he'll be here, I think, 4 days this week. And I've asked him to, kind of focus more over there. Obviously, he doesn't as here on this side of the street. He has a slightly better place to set up for people going through the stop sign here. But
Yeah.
anyway, I did notice him pulling people over there, so. As I said, I talked to him about seeing if we could get some data from that speed sign, and he said he's working on trying to get the other one to work. So, and as I mentioned, if we can work with NRPC to work on doing a study for the traffic ordinance, we could also. I would probably also be looking at this road just to update some of the. I've asked them to see if they can find any of the old data that we did from. I think it was in 2016 we did the last time the ordinance was adopted. They did a study on that road as well. So it'd be interesting to see what, comparing 10 years ago, what the data is looking like now in terms of what speed people are going at. And part of it is the federal guidance has changed slightly. It used to be that they wanted you to do a study and then you would determine what the 85th percentile of the driver, like what are, 85% and lower are going at least this speed. And then they wanted you to set the speed limit shouldn't be within 5 miles of that speed or more than a certain amount of that speed. They've changed it slightly for this particular type of road, which is a rural road that turns into like a main street as well. They have given more leeway for towns for municipalities or agencies because it's a federal guideline that gets passed down. The state adopts the federal guidelines, and there is a little bit more leeway in terms of how much the lower. You don't have to be dead on within that 5 mile an hour range. I think now you can set it differently. So. Anyway, it would be interesting to see how much the speeds have changed since the last time the study was done, and then also to get a better idea of the other challenge with this particular street is that there is a lot of different kinds of vehicles going over it. So obviously we have the most problem with passenger cars and occasionally with motorcycles or ATVs. But we also have a lot of heavy trucks, lots of truck and trailer, farm equipment, various, so there's quite a lot of, that's the other thing, is another reason why the rubber bump maybe wouldn't have been necessarily a good long-term thing, because even if it was optimized for the right speed, I don't know how long it would last with the kind of traffic that goes over it.
Yeah.
My biggest issue with this is all of a sudden all our focus is on one section of Pleasant Street. We've got a limited hours that we have sheriffs covered, and we're supposed to be looking out for the whole town of Sheldon, not 500 feet of road here. So, I mean, the neighbor over here has been complaining since the beginning about people not stopping here. We've tried to get some patrol here and stuff, but there's aggressive drivers all over town, not just on Pleasant Street. And I know it'd be nice to curb it and do what we can to fix it, but there's other places in town that, spend some of the resources on too.
Yep. What's the, only slightly related, but what's the status on the painting for the parking lot and for the stop signs?
I let the contractor know that we had awarded that, and then I didn't hear from him all last week. I don't know if I do know that he's busy. He had some other contracts he needed to do, so I don't know if he just hasn't had time to get back to me or not. I reached out to him again today, and I haven't heard anything about it, but I'm trying to get that scheduled as soon as we can here
I mean, it's not like a magic fix or anything, but I think because of the speed, reduction suddenly, and then all of a sudden there's a stop sign, and most people are local enough where they know the road, but.
Okay. Mill Street Sewer Project?
So I have a meeting scheduled later this week with Robert to get that restarted. I don't know why I think he's just really busy with a lot of other projects. I don't know why I haven't been able to get in touch with him for the last week or so, but we should be able to get that restarted. At this point, I'm not really anticipating we'll be able to necessarily do something this fall or not, but we can at least try to get it out to bid and see if anybody wants to, see what we can get. At this point, it's most likely that we'll be talking about next spring rather than this year. So I'm sorry about that. I think it was just that the time that he seemed to be most ready to do this was the week I went on vacation. So then when I get back, I tried to get in touch with him, and I finally got a hold of him last week. So we're going to meet on Friday, I think, and talk about what we need to do to get that restarted. I think basically everything's ready to go. It's just setting a date. We want to set the bids out and set a date for a pre-construction meeting and for a date to open the bids and time to have the pre-construction meeting to do that. So.
Alright, I guess we got this storage tank and equipment rental agreement there. Do we need a motion for that, or?
I'm not sure if it necessarily needs to have a motion or not. It's as I say, it's a existing lease that we have. We're really just extending it and adding a second piece of equipment.
Hereby agree to an addition to the following new item to this rental agreement. One pump, value of $1,336. They didn't change the quantity that we need to purchase or anything, right?
No, it's separate from our chloride agreement. So usually we have a chloride agreement that specifies the price at however many gallons we're going to use. And then this is a separate agreement just to keep the tank. And I think they have a good idea about where they want to put it. And in theory, that'll allow them when they're, especially in the winter, not so much for the, we don't use the same chloride for the dust control, but we do sometimes get some brine for using on some of the winter roads. And anyway, when they back out to the salt shed to put their salt on their trucks in the winter, that's, if the pump's right there, they'll be able to add the brine to their truck at the same, basically one-stop shopping instead of what they've been doing before is like driving
Be so
here.
efficient, it'll be done before long.
That's right. No promises. But also, the other thing is that it'll be electricity should be a lot more cooperative at 3 in the morning than a gasoline engine. So
Yeah.
I think they're looking forward to that push button operation.
Alright, anything else we need to discuss for the evening?
Just a question, how many days out are we from that ordinance going into effect about the public indecency that we signed?
I'd have to circle back on that. I think
60
we
days
signed
must
that
be
in
just about
June,
right.
so it's just about.
Have we heard any more on that issue?
Well, I think they moved down the road pretty shortly after that.
State police visited him down on the park on the rail trail there. Nobody's seen him back there since.
I haven't heard any additional complaints.
I haven't heard.
No, I haven't heard anything.
I haven't heard him
Okay.
popping up anywhere else there, so I'm not sure what's going on.
It's too hot and there's just
I
too
want
much
to say you
shade.
adopted
Yeah,
first meeting in June, so it would be,
It must be right there.
yeah, right around now, yeah.
Okay.
That makes it like a ticketable offense, essentially.
Yeah, I guess let's see if we,
Need to
Yeah.
inform
Yeah,
the law
right.
enforcement agency we're
Right.
contracted with, at pleasure now.
I think
Yeah,
that would be something that a police officer could also write a ticket for as well.
Yeah.
So,
Great.
We'd let them know that that ordinance is in effect now.
yeah, yeah.
Lucky them.
I think hopefully most of the effect is in deterrence as opposed to actually.
they don't send
Oh,
us out to
so-
individuals. and-
Yeah, so Jane, we got that in the mail today. Jane has registered to go to that, and I was thinking last year it was in Killington, so I thought that was a bit too. This is the annual VLCT meeting, town fair. There is some training available for select board members if any of you are interested in going to that. So it's-
You know, it's October 8th,
there is a
South Burlington.
early bird registration, if you guys are interested.
They used
I
to
can-
send those out to
Everybody.
all the board members. I used to get all that kind of stuff, but they don't anymore, I guess.
Don't want to save money on
Just
postage.
send
I can,
one to the town.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was my childhood. So I used to read all those yellow reports. I eat my cereal. Yeah, because that's the kind of guy I am. So I can email that material information to you guys if you.
Where are we on the training stuff there?
Oh
Is that
yeah,
something-
that's we need to do that
We
in the
hit
next
some
month
deadlines here
so,
pretty soon,
yeah.
or?
Yes. So
Have we been emailed links to those things, or?
I thought I had emailed those. Had I not? Oh, okay. All right. I can.
Could you
do that.
resend them if you?
Yes. Okay.
Please.
Yes.
Yeah, did we want to do it like individually? I mean, I watched some stuff.
Let's go ahead. Maria, you did yours.
I did mine, but, well, because it said that
Because you're a new member.
I'm new and I don't think I even made the cutoff. I think I was like a few days late because I wasn't
Okay.
quite brought to my awareness.
Okay. I'm sorry
I didn't
about that.
realize, but I think it should be fine
Yeah.
theoretically. It's done now. Yeah, anybody who's already a board member, you have like a longer cutoff, so. But we can do it all together. I wouldn't.
Grandfathered in, you're saying?
I guess so. I mean, at least like a longer amount of time to look at it, or I don't know.
I think
But
that you have until the end of September, but we should get that done.
yeah, it was like a 60-day for new select board members. I was like, well, I didn't quite make that one, but close enough, I
So I will
suppose.
email those links out.
It's pretty basic stuff. One of them's like just like watching a Zoom meeting, which is a little boring, but I mean,
Warren is our meetings.
yeah, I mean, yeah, it was very similar to the updates for the library as far as open meeting laws and inclusivity and whatnot. Yeah.
You take cliff notes?
I did. That's because I'm like type A nerd, so I took notes. It was great times.
Alright, anything else we need to discuss?
So for the planning board, do we appoint somebody? Do they appoint somebody?
That's for the select board too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Need an interested party.
Yeah. That's the-
Right.
Yeah, key would be.
I mean, I think they're already still, aren't they still down a seat? Or did Nancy's?
Well, when Jeremy came on, we were, I think there could be up to 7 people on the planning and up to 9 on the DRB.
Okay.
I want to say we were at 5 on both boards.
Yeah.
The way they were currently constituted, or no, maybe 6. Anyway, so it would be better to get someone rather than not. But I think we still have capacity for another member on either board as well.
So they have like a minimum quorum that they have to meet?
I'm not sure that there's a minimum established, but obviously having more members is better. Well, it's easier to make a quorum if you have more members
Right.
than not, but then it does require you to have more people. Anyway, it's just Hillary was one of the people who was much more, who seemed to be there every meeting, most of them.
She's
But
very dependable.
she's as I say, I think she's taken on a bigger role at the school, and so I think she's
Yeah.
having limited time to do it. So. Yeah, so if you know anyone who might be a good candidate for that, you could reach out to them or have them get in touch with me.
And that's something we can appoint prior to the town meeting?
Yes,
And
anytime,
they-
yeah. Anytime there's a vacancy. I mean, technically, I should probably publish, it's been posted, we have posted that there is a seat available on those boards since before town meeting, because we've only appointed one person to them.
Right.
If there was an opening in an elected position, we would have to publish that a bit more, but I can make a renewed effort to see if, put it out that for.
I think we're gonna have a similar situation with the library
Okay.
board, just to warn you. We have our meeting this week. And I need to check into some bylaws, because we have had somebody not show up for most of the year. And then now seems to be unreachable, so to me that is, but we'll see what happens on Thursday.
Okay.
Alright.
Motion to adjourn, David?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second that?
Yep.
Yeah.
All in favor? We're adjourned for the evening, Jared.